You'd be surprised how literally men that are 40 years old, they still don't know what they want. They're still not ready to commit.
I don't think it's about not knowing what they want and not ready to commit. I think it's that you're going to come to a crossroads and understand the pros and cons to a relationship or a marriage. And you have to weigh the options, like, does it benefit me or does it not benefit me?
Clearly doesn't benefit a bunch of them because they can get anyone they want anytime.
And it's not about that, because that doesn't determine if they get women or don't get women.
What is
You
it
see
about?
what I'm saying? We're talking about strictly, is there a benefit to me getting married at all?
Do you think men think there's no benefit to being married?
A lot of them, it's actually worse if they get married. It's like a huge risk.
Why?
For the woman, she has the opportunity to get the kids automatically. She gets to have half of his earnings without having to earn what he earned or hustle what he hustled. They have the opportunity to be able to get alimony. They have the opportunity to own assets that they didn't work for. So what does this man benefit for if it doesn't work out? He actually loses.
At these brothers. Man, the good word says that if a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, man. And I'll be honest, man, I 100% wholeheartedly believe that, right? But I'll tell you what I also know, man. That if a man entertains the wrong woman, it is 100% the beginning of his destruction, bro. It is 100% the beginning of his destruction. The first thing I believe we got to understand, man, the first thing I believe we have to understand is really to understand our power. To understand our power as men, to understand that all the things we deal with on a daily basis, whether it's financial, the job is tripping, the health is tripping, whatever, right? We have to understand that the power is within us to overcome that, right? Now, we also have to understand that if we aren't in the know of how life works, of how things work, that if we put that power and get it mixed up with the wrong energy, it's actually working against us just as fast. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a man must first understand who he is to even understand the conversation about women. Because a lot of it won't even make sense. Quick plug real quick, man. Sunday, I am having the event talking about the real 1%. Make sure you chime into that conversation. We'll be decoding the 3 degrees of connection. Talking about the master key within every one of us, right? We'll be talking about the hidden power of marriage. And then we'll be talking about the unfathomable power of organized thought, right? But again, man, I believe that if a man finds a wife, a man finds a good thing. But you got to understand, like I said, finding the wrong woman, man, it is the beginning of destruction. Now, this is the thing. A lot of us understand that. A lot of us understand that anytime we interact with a woman, anytime we meet a new woman, anytime we get into a relationship, we understand that if things go south at some point in time, it's going to be a challenge to get out of that and get back on path, right? But the thing is, I think, one thing I think is our vetting process needs to be better. And what I mean by that is, like, our vetting process, of course, some years ago was strictly going off what a woman said. If a woman said she wasn't moving in a virtuous energy, if a woman said she was XYZ, we just took it at face value and said, okay, she said she's this. Let me move in this energy and connect with her on an energetic level, right? In a very short amount of time, you might find out that, you know what, she wasn't about that life. So fast forward, brothers start saying, hey, man, you know what? Don't go off of her words, go off of her actions. And I'll be honest, that will eliminate a lot of women, but a lot of women still have the ability, to fake the funk for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, even a few years for those that are good at playing that role, right? And at some point you will say, you know what? Like, I heard what she said, I saw what she did, but she still slipped through the cracks. So I'm going to tell you, brothers, I'm going to tell you one thing that just through my 48 years of living on this planet, man, of one thing that would allow us to go deeper, in our vetting process, man. And that thing is not just going off of her words, definitely, not going off of her actions, but really looking at her character. Really looking at her character traits. Really looking at how she sees the world. And when I say character trait, is because you got to understand that the way people move, the way people are, the way people see the world, that's what's going to dictate what their life is. That's what's really going to dictate who they are. So a person can say I'm this. A person can say I'm whatever. A person can even put in the work and do certain things to make you think that they are what they say they are. But when they're just sitting still and they're observing the world and they're showing you how they observe the world, that's who they really are. That's who they really are, bro. And again, I'm sharing this with you, man, based on 25 years of dating, man, and pretty much the common denominator of what I've seen on relationships that I've had to exit or relationships that have been terminated for whatever reason, right? The common denominator, man, is like, you know what? You can really tell who you're dealing with by looking at that person's character traits, looking at their morals, looking how they look at their previous relationships. Look at how they look at the relationships with their parents, their friends, their kids. You know what I'm saying? Look at how they view themselves. Character traits are everything. And I'm gonna tell you, man, when you get in a relationship with a person, man, I don't believe. And when I say I don't believe this, it's strictly because I don't think a lot of men understand the dynamic of what's really taking place when a man and woman come together. I don't think a lot of us understand how important it is for the woman in our lives to be equally yoked, like a lot of people say, man, like understanding that person has to see the world like you see it. Because you got to understand, if a woman can't see the world how you see it, she really can't attach to you or your mission. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll be going this way and she'll be in the clouds or in left field talking about something else. And again, that doesn't mean she's a bad person or she's a 304 or none of that stuff. It just means that if you connect with her and y'all's mission isn't one, brother, it's just a matter of time before that power that you have, is nose diving to a place that you don't want to go. You know what I'm saying? So again, when we make these decisions, it has to be based on that person's character traits. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna keep it 100, man. I'm gonna keep it 100, man. The more you become in tune with what I'm saying, the more you become conscious and aware of what I'm saying, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, bro. Of course, we all want these baddies and thicks and long hair, all that stuff, but you're gonna be basing the women you get with strictly off of her character traits, strictly off of who she is. A woman that is aligned with who you are and where you're going, I'm telling you, man, is gonna become far more attractive than a woman in the stilettos and tight jeans and her did. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna change the way you look at a woman. But the reason this is so important, the reason why you must choose a woman that has the character traits that align with your mission is because if you don't, and this is getting to the point where I say, you're going to go towards destruction. If you don't, you have to understand it's going to be pulling you in two different directions. And again, what I'm talking about now I'm not even talking about no Jezebel spirits. I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm talking about two people that are healthy and healthy minded and good people. If that woman still isn't aligned with who you are and where you're going, you're still going to destruction because now you're going to become a divided man. And I'm not sure where that verse is in the Bible where it talks about the divided man and everything that comes with being a divided minded man or dual minded man, or however it says it, right? Which is the opposite of living in a singular truth. Get the book if you haven't got it. It's the opposite of that. You have to understand that if a woman is attached to you and y'all are living two different truths, you have to understand the end result is 100% destruction. 100% destruction, because you have to understand that when you're living a dual life, you can't travel the path like you think. And just to give an example, and I'll go extreme, right? Let's say let's say you're a humanitarian, right? You're all about, helping the homeless. You're all about feeding people in Africa and Asia and all these places. You're all about building churches in places, whatever. And your woman is all about clubbing and day partying and sipping wine and da 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 da, and everybody's having a shindig. That's not saying she's a bad person. That's not saying you're the most upright man. But all I'm saying is you have two separate life missions. You have two separate missions, goals, and agendas in life, right? You have to understand that when you become one with that, your plane is going down, bro. Your plane is going down. So it's so important that a woman is aligned with who you are and where you're going. And the reason I say it's so important is, again, it goes back to what I said when I first started. It's because she can't attach to you. It's because she can't attach to you. Like, you have to understand, and it's the same. A lot of these verses, man, I heard just like you did when I was young. Like when the Bible said, oh, two must become one and she must. Bro, that's a real thing. Like a lot of people, even myself, up until the last, number of years of my life, I didn't understand what relationships really were. Like, I understand now, man, that the way we move in this world as far as entertaining women, hell, even women entertaining men, man, it's so reckless. And when I say reckless, I'm not just talking about morality. I'm not even talking about, oh, well, you mess with this many women. I'm not even talking about morality. I'm talking about you getting the result you want in life. We're moving so reckless, bro. And I'm tired of saying this, and I know y'all are tired of hearing it, but you have to understand, when you go and you're messing with this woman and this woman and this woman, bro, you have no idea what kind of thunderstorm you're building over your life. You have no idea when things are just going wrong. And I'm not even talking about dealing with a number of women all the time. If you're dealing with the wrong woman, you're going to be having thunderstorms building over your head, over your life, man. And you aren't going to understand why. Character traits, man, morals override big booties any day in my life. Now, if she got a big booty, that's a plus. You know what I'm saying? But it's a real thing, man. And when I say how she views the world and her morals, you gotta understand, for example, right? For example, with me, I don't entertain, and I've said this a number of times before, and I tell my brothers in the circle this all the time. There are a lot of traits that if a man has, I won't deal with them. Like, if you move a certain way, if you're doing this, I don't deal with you. We might be cool from a distance, chunk the deuce, but you're not really my dude. We're not finna be kicking it like that. And one of those things are a man that's bonded with a woman, but he's creeping. He's out cheating. He's out running the streets. I don't deal with dudes like that. I'm not saying I hate dudes like that. I just can't deal with you, because I understand that if you're moving like that with the woman you're bonded with, then surely, goodness and mercy, man, you have absolutely no loyalty to me. No loyalty to me. So, like, when I look at women, man, and women are moving in packs or associating themselves with women that move like that, can't trust a woman like that, bro. You can't trust a woman. You can't trust a woman that moves with women that move like that. Birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together, man. So the woman you get with, like when I'm saying character traits and morals, one of the main things you want to look at is who's in her circle, man. Who's in her circle? I've been in relationships in my life where a woman said a certain thing. A woman did a certain thing, right? To the T. But when things end up panning out and I'm looking back, scratching my head, I'm like, damn, how did I miss all the signs? Or like, what did I miss? Like, God dang, how? And I would just sit back and look at, say, you know what? What were her character traits? Who was in her circle? And the people in her circle were telling me exactly who she was. The brothers that I hang with, the brothers that I call friends, the brothers that are in the power circle, or a representation of exactly who I am. You know what I'm saying? We're all a representation of each other, man. So character traits are everything, man, when you're talking about having a woman in your life, right? And then I'll say this, man, one of the primary reasons why this is all important, because you have to understand that at some point in time, when I say it's going to go down to destruction, at some point in time, not only is that plane going to land in a way that you don't want it to land, and now you're going to be parting ways, but at some point in time, before that plane crashes, that woman is going to jump ship. And I'll say this, she should jump ship. That woman is going to leave you in a bad situation, whatever that means to you, right? And I'll go as far as saying, as she should. Like why would she remain on a plane that's going down? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm really saying is I'm putting that energy back on us as far as being responsible for who we're putting on the flight with us. We have to be more responsible, man, with who we're flying with, who we're putting in that co-pilot seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'll say this, one way to mitigate that whole situation, man, is to first be able to be alone, man. I think this, and this is men and women. I think if a person isn't in a position where they can live at least a year by themselves, no relationship, no intimacy, I think if they're not in that position, then they're going to be susceptible, man, of putting the wrong person on the bus. They're going to be subject to putting the wrong person on the bus if they can't sit still for a small amount of time. If they don't love themselves, if they don't love their energy for 52 weeks, right? Sit still, entertain yourself, go out to eat by yourself, take those trips by yourself, enjoy your own time. If you can't do that for a year, I think you're rolling the dice, man, because once you get, and maybe a year is extreme, 3 months, 6 months, whatever that time is for you, because once you get to the point where you can, then bro, you checking everybody at the front gate. What you're saying is, if a person doesn't view the world just like me, if a person doesn't have the ability to come in my life and see my mission and be able to add to exactly where I'm going, then hey, you know what? I'm fine with saying, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna roll solo. Like mission over everything. Like where I say I'm going, like that's priority over everything. And if you aren't coming in my life as a solid co-pilot, if you aren't coming in my life and looking at the destination and looking at the map and working that plan along with me, then I'm gonna choose to roll solo. So again, man, like I said, the Bible says that a man that finds a good wife is a good thing or a beautiful thing or however it says it, man, and that is a real thing. I don't think a lot of us understand the power in that. And again, I'll be talking about that Sunday. Get registered, man. If any of y'all men or women want to really understand the power that comes with that, chime in. But the first thing a man must understand is the power within himself. A man and a woman must understand the power within themselves because like I always say, a person that conducts the second marriage of man, which is when a man and woman comes together, if that person hasn't conducted the first marriage, which is the marriage within themselves, it is impossible. It is impossible for that to work. So when we talk about 50% divorce rates and even an additional 20 and 30% over that of people that are unhappy or unfulfilled or stepping out, it's because we lack a certain knowledge of who we are and what this whole thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like when I talk about infidelity and how I feel about it, I haven't always felt like that. I haven't always been a man that moved in an upright manner and say, if I got one woman, that's how I'm rolling with. But once I understood who I was, once I understood what it meant for two people to come together, bro, I couldn't imagine distorting my energy. So it's not even a moral thing. It's not like, okay, well, we need to be good men and rock solid. And it ain't about that. It's about, bro, once you understand how this thing works, that when when a woman moves in any other manner besides the way she should, it's like, bro, it's gonna rock your whole world. Not even that. When I move in a manner where other than the way I should, I'm about to rock my world. So it's just an understanding, man. And I'm fully aware now, man, that the far majority of people, adults, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old people that are getting in relationships have absolutely no clue what's really taking place. Have absolutely no clue what's really taking place. And I'm telling you, once you understand this, man, that when you get on the gram and you scrolling and you seeing all these baddies, and trust me, I see them and they look good. They look real good. Matter of fact, I might sit there and pause for a second. I might dive into those channels for a little bit, just scroll and get some mental entertainment. But never in my mind am I saying, okay, you know what, man, I'm about to bring a person in my life. Let me base it strictly off this. We have to get past that, bro. Because a lot of things in our life that are going wrong, a lot of the background noise, a lot of the destruction that we don't see coming that hits us, a lot of it is based on not only us not knowing ourselves, but based on the women we bring in our life, bro. The women we bring in our life, man. So first, a man has to understand that, hey, you know what? I can move solo. I need to master myself first, which is what we'll be talking about Sunday. Chime in. And second, he needs to say, okay, if I am going to bring a woman in my life, she needs to be able to master my mission with me. Like, I don't know about y'all, man, but long gone are the days where, and women still talk about this whole, like this whole princess treatment. And I agree with that. I believe that if a woman comes in your life and she proves herself to be, who she say she is and her character traits are a certain way, I believe that woman should be spoiled. I believe that woman should be treated like royalty. I believe that woman should be given a life that is at ease. I believe that woman shouldn't have to worry about things. I believe that if you're in position to take that woman out of her job, I think you should do it. But I think if that woman is that, then all those things that she desires will come her way by default. You know what I'm saying? So I believe all that. But at the same time, I believe that if a man chooses to bring a woman in his life based on any other thing, in any other attribute, outside of who she really is, her character traits, man, you're about to nosedive to ground zero, man, with a baddie on your side, with just a visual trophy on your side, bro. I'm gonna tell you. So us as men have to be more aware. We have to choose wisely, and we have to just find ourselves, man. All roads lead back to us. All roads leads back to us and us knowing who we are. Like we can get online and hell, I can even make videos and talk about certain things and that stuff is important so that us as men understand what it is we're seeing. I hope that sometimes if I'm making a video about a relationship from my past or relationship back when I was in high school or whenever, or when I was married, I'm always hoping that I can say something that a man can be driving in the car and hear something and look over this wife and say, you know what, let me take this knowledge that Soul has shared with me or whoever you're watching has shared and apply it to my life. And it may save you some heartache. It may save you from walking down the aisle with somebody who you shouldn't. At the same time, I hope that it shows you that, hey, you know what? I'm sitting here living in fear and I got a whole real one by my side. Like the things that I hear, these people say online or what Soul said, like my woman has never done that. Matter of fact, she's done the opposite. And I'm sitting here living in fear the whole time. I got a real one by my side. So the conversations needed to be had for both reasons. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying in a nutshell, brothers, is let's choose wisely. Let's find ourselves. Let's master ourselves. And if we choose to bring a woman on the team, second marriage of man, right? Let's just be aware of both the good and bad things that can take place, bro.